Welcome to the Good News Bay podcast, where we are making Bay County brighter, one conversation at a time. Today, well, they're always special podcasts, but this one's extra special. Should be a whole lot of fun. There's a lot of energy in the room. Miss Becky has a lot of energy, and these fellas both, well, they're younger, and so they got plenty of energy too. And we're excited to be talking today about the agricultural program at Bozeman. And I was going to say high school, but Bozeman is elementary, middle, and high school?
It's a pre-K through 12th grade.
That's the right way to say that. Okay, and so Bozeman, locally we all know about Bozeman, but there's some that don't know about the ag program at Bozeman, and today we want to highlight that. Becky Peltonen is the director of that program, and is also involved with the science side of it, obviously, and has been for some years. How many years have you been in directing the program now?
I've actually been in Bay County for 30 years. This is my 30th year, and I've been in the ag program since 2013.
Okay. We didn't talk about it off air, but you've been at Emerald Coast Fellowship for quite a while too, haven't you?
I have. Since
I've been your pastor a minute or
since
two.
1995, yes.
Oh yeah, that was before I moved back to
Yes.
town. So you came before I did.
I've been here a long time.
Yep. Well, I've watched you in the science side of things along the way. You are a rock star at what you do. And I'm going to brag on you. Matter of fact, I called your principal, and I asked him about you, Ivan Beach, and who's also a really good guy, by the way. Isn't Ivan Beach your principal? Yeah, Mr. Beach is a good guy. Good answers. And so he said, Becky Peltonen is every principal's dream. She gives 100% of the time. She's a wealth of knowledge and is passionate about agriculture. Above that, she loves her students and wants them to be successful in school while developing the tools to be successful in life. And, Tyler, Peyton, Tyler Clements, Peyton Gay, these are the two students that we have. They're both seniors. We're going to get to you guys in a moment or two, but when we talk about these students, I can see that it's your passion. There's a specific function, though, as we talk about the agricultural program at Bozeman. It's different than a lot of the other ag programs in the state. It's different, you said, because a lot of those are involved with like the big business side of, and I don't know if I'm saying this right, but there's a very practical element to how you do the program with people learning life skills that are in it. I'm gonna be quiet and let you explain the difference. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I do. So in the peninsula of Florida, you have your larger counties like Lafayette and Durant and Hillsborough and Suwannee, and they have a lot of land that's dedicated for production agriculture. So they'll have 20 acres of crops, and students will live and grow up on family farms that have 100 head of cattle, or they'll have a whole entire dairy farm,
right?
Where they also get the milk and then turn it into a milk product or something that their family owns. So we don't have that here in Bay County. We don't have students who own lots and lots of land that can go into production agriculture. So the focus of the ag program at Bozeman is agriculture literacy and family sustainability.
Okay.
So we're not all farmers and we're not all going to be farmers, but we all do have to eat.
That's
So the agriculture literacy part of the program teaches students how to be better consumers at the grocery store and how to spend their money more wisely and how to not fall for marketing schemes that some companies may put out. They're not necessarily mislabeling things, but they are manipulating their labels a little bit to get people to pay more for something that they really shouldn't be.
Well, a simple example of that's eggs. We were talking about eggs beforehand. We have these thoughts about some eggs being really different than other eggs. Does it matter if they're brown or white?
It doesn't matter. A big conception is that eggs that are brown eggs are healthier or better for you than white eggs, when actually that's 100% not true.
Well, as I've talked to you over the years about what you're teaching and what the kids are learning, the students are learning, it's fascinating to me that in particular, like as you've described the difference, your students are learning life skills like when they go to the grocery store, how do they pick out their groceries and in a day like today, make that dollar figure they have budgeted go further by not getting caught up in the schemes. Florida, agriculture is the #2 industry in the state?
Correct. It's the second industry in the state under tourism.
Right.
And then it's our country's largest employer
So agriculture is the largest employer
in the United
in
States.
the United States. The parts that we don't think about, and you're really good at rattling this off, but like there's a marketing side, there's all these different pieces that landscaping is a piece.
Marketing, merchandising, sales, ag communications, all of that falls under the umbrella of agriculture. A lot of people think that it's just cows and chickens and rabbits and ducks, but it's not. There's all these other people that are behind the scenes. There's pharmaceuticals that are for animals. So because animals, your horses and your dogs and your cats have to have medicine, well, that falls under the agriculture side. So if your pig gets sick or whatever, there's even a pharmaceutical section that deals with animals. There's the bags of feed that you buy in the store, they've all been nutritionally balanced for the job that animal does. Well, there's somebody who's doing the math on the protein and on the fats and on the carbohydrates to make sure that each bag of feed has the correct proportions in it to feed whichever animal you have at whatever stage of life it's in for whatever job it's doing. And those people don't even touch an animal, but that's part of the agriculture side of it, is to help out the farm owners or pet owners even. All that falls under agriculture.
Let me pause for a minute. I'm going to pull these guys into it. They both have a story. They're both highly decorated in their areas and have been in the FFA program now in the ag department for a while. And you come from different backgrounds to some extent. Both graduate and both got bright futures. So Tyler, we're going to pick on you just for a minute. So tell us what a little bit about what your journey's been like. There's an award in the middle of all this too, that is the Star of Ag Business, which is like one of the highest honors you can get, right, Becky?
Correct.
And so tell me what that is, Star of Ag Business, and what you did to get it.
The Star of Ag Business is one of the awards you can get in the state of Florida, and it goes along with a proficiency that you completed. So my proficiency I filled out. I started a lawn business in 2019 where I went out around to my neighbors and I mowed their grass and I landscaped their yards, trimmed trees, bushes, and stuff like that. So I had done that for a couple years, and then we were looking at proficiencies with Ms. Peltonen, and we realized that fell under one of the categories of landscape management, and I decided to fill out a proficiency for that. So I submitted that last year about my business. At that time I had 4 years of data, and I won the state title in the state of Florida for my proficiency and went on to the national level. So this year we submitted again as the State Star of Florida, and I was selected as in the top four. There's three other ones, a State Star in Florida for the agribusiness
That's good.
Star of Florida.
So one of the things that I've heard Miss Becky, if I can use the word, I've heard her preaching about work ethic that her students learn. And I think I just heard you say you created a lawn business over, what, 4 or 5 years?
5 years, yes, sir.
Did you start it when you were in middle school? End of middle school?
I believe so.
Probably
Yes.
the summer after?
So I think it was my eighth grade year or seventh grade year I started it.
That's a lot of work.
It was. I started in my neighborhood. I had 1 yard. Well, I started with one lawnmower, and then slowly I picked up more yards, bought more equipment, and it developed over time into 12 yards by the end and 2 employees.
We like to push business principles on this podcast, and what I love is that even as we were talking off air, you learned a ton of business principles along the way that no matter what you do in life, even if it's just a family budget, are going to help you to figure out like the best way to handle family finances and business. What are your plans moving? You're graduating,
yes, sir,
from Bozeman here soon.
Yes,
what
sir.
are your plans moving forward?
My plans are to attend Gulf Coast for 2 years and get my basic AA degree, and then transfer hopefully to the University of Florida, and I want to get a degree in agricultural engineering or ag mechanics.
Okay, cool. Now both of these guys were part of the group that went to Indiana. To the FFA, there's the big thing. Did both of y'all go to Indiana?
No,
I did not.
So we have our.
couldn't.
I couldn't. I played.
Yeah, he
Rutherford.
had to play football.
That's part of the story, though, is that whether you are involved in the organized athletics or you've got a lawn company going on, You still can participate in FFA.
There are opportunities for everyone. There's the agriculture department at Bozeman. We actually we started with 31 students when I started in 2013. And now we have 378 students in the agriculture department. I was a solo teacher for a long time, and now it's myself, and then I have two other teachers who are with me. I'm the animal person. We have another one who does the biotech, and we have another one who's our horticulture, our plant person. So we have a pathway for everyone who comes. All freshmen take agriculture, and then at the end of the year, we ask them which direction they want to go, and then we funnel them that way. And there's industry certifications that match all of those career pathways that will help prioritize them in the workforce when it comes to getting jobs. The FFA is the student organization that goes with an agriculture program. So students in the ag program have the opportunity to join the FFA, and then through the FFA, there are career development events and leadership development events that are available in almost every single category of life that you could think of to major in, to be employed in. If you want to go straight into the workforce after high school, you can do that. But it gives them the opportunity to do things in high school for free and say, oh, I like this career. I think I want to do this. Or you could say, oh, no, this is not what I thought it was. I don't want to do this.
See, you're talking about the cost-effective side of it.
Yes.
From the pastor's side of it, I watch teenagers and have over the years, they get in ninth grade and then they start getting pressured. Like, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? And they feel like they need to know, but if they don't have some opportunities like this, it's hard to figure that out.
Right. It's hard to say, what do you want to do, what do you want to be when you grow up, if you aren't allowed a chance to have the experiences in that, and if you're not given the vocabulary for it, if you're not given the hands-on offerings that go with it, you get in college and you realize this isn't what I thought it was going to be. And then I'm not saying it's too late, but it's about to be costly.
Right. Well, and the anxiety level goes way down. I mean, as seniors, you guys don't look too stressed to me right now. I mean, maybe I can't see behind the scenes, but even as we've interacted, Peyton, you've always seemed cool with the cucumber to me. So there's a side to this, though, that I think people miss. We're not going to forget you, Peyton, okay? But there's a side that I think people miss, which very much relates to the technical aspects. Like, you said earlier, you've come up with a phrase that I really like. I think it's catchy. I think it should catch on. I think people should quote it more. It used to be sows, plows, and cows. That's what agriculture used to be.
Used to be.
But what is it now?
Now it's more clones, phones, and drones.
All right. And we all know the concept of phones, clones, and drones, but what does that mean? Give us a couple examples.
You change with the times.
Yep.
You change with the times. Farming has become a lot more efficient now.
Yeah.
Now we need less land to grow more products because of the technology that has been invented. We have drones that can do almost anything. They have cameras on them. They have heat sensors on them. They can fly up to a tree and squirt one bug on a tree if you wanted to do that. We have, in precision agriculture, we have driverless tractors, driverless combines, where you just enter your GPS coordinates and the crop that you're growing, and you hit go, and then it runs. So agriculture has become a lot more efficient, but because of that, you need people on the technology side as well. There's an app for everything. There's an app for everything now.
You got to have software writers.
You have to have softwares. The big irrigation, the pivot irrigation sprinklers that are in fields.
Yeah.
They now make them to where they have cameras on them and they have sensors. And so instead of them having a timer and they come on with timers, the sensors that are on them can determine the moisture level of the soil and then turn them on. So that helps with water efficiency as well. So or you can turn them on with your phone if you want to.
Do the students get to interact with some of that technology?
The thing is that when you work with technology, you have to have the basic foundations to know them, the hands in the dirt under the fingernails, picking up an animal and palpating it and figuring out what's wrong with the animal to know how to treat it. We were getting ready to go to...
Palpating it?
Yeah, where you touch it with your fingers to feel for masses or something like that. We were actually flying to Indiana this past November, and I was tired, and I was ready to go home and go to bed. And Peyton called me, and he said, I think there's something wrong with our heifer. And I said, what do you think it is? And he said, well, I think that it's listeriosis because I've been looking at her and I'm watching her. And he said, can I go get the custodian to get in your room to go get the penicillin out of the fridge? And I said, absolutely. So Peyton went in, loaded the syringe, and he's running out to the field, rolling it between his hands, and he gets there and then gives her the injection. The next morning, I'm at the airport with Tyler at 4 o'clock in the morning, but we were able to fly because he was up the night before. He had diagnosed her on his own and had treated her, and that's what allowed us to be able to get on the plane to fly to National Convention.
So it's a good thing he didn't go to Indiana.
Right.
I mean, yeah, he was back home being a hero.
He was.
I had to give them shots every day while they were in Indiana. Twice a
Over
day.
the years, I've watched you with animals a little bit at your grandparents' farm, man, and you've got a gift. But you learn some incredible things. I know the first time I had lunch with Peyton not long ago, and we were talking about this program a little bit. And the first time I came up, I guess it's the only time I've come up to get a tour, but the kids were doing surgery on pigs, like in class, and I was shocked. 14 and 15-year-olds working on pigs. And of course, you expressed that y'all got to do surgery on some pigs too along the way, and it's not uncommon. And we talked about rabbits and breeding rabbits and other animals, and you learn all about the life cycle and life skills. It's some of it's incredible. Now, you told me also, like even if the agricultural side is not what you anticipate is your future career, although it's a huge industry. So if you like computers and drones and some of these other things.
Animal science.
Yep,
yes.
the engineering.
And plant science, yes.
But you talk some about skills like the speaking and leadership skills. Talk a little bit about how they learn some of those things through the program.
The FFA, which is the student organization, does have a lot of career development events and leadership development events that are available to all the students who are in the agriculture program, should they choose to go that route. And a lot of the team projects do have speaking components. And it could be you're given the topic ahead of time and you get to practice and get there, or it could be extemporaneous. You could get there and then you're given the topic. And then you have to know your stuff and come up and speak. But there's a lot of leadership opportunities being a team leader, or there's solo competitions where you go and you speak in front of people. There's just the work ethic and the responsibility that's needed. It's a lot. Leadership also is for this age, it's a life balance.
Yeah.
It's a life balance. The ones who can balance school plus their sports plus their job plus all their extracurriculars, that's when the cream rises to the top. And that's where your leaders are. And it's the ones that know how to balance their time and balance their energy. And then those are the ones who always succeed in life.
Well, you said even before we came on, I was asking, well, is there a certain part of the season for FFA that conflicts with other athletic sports? I know you played a lot of football. And what you said was that
it's year round.
It's year round.
Yeah,
but you said it boils down to time management.
It does. State convention is in June, and everything you do leads towards state convention.
But you're teaching them time management.
Correct. We have it's the day we come home from state convention, we're starting on next year's competitions.
Yep.
So we go June to June, and in between there is football, softball, basketball, soccer. Yep. Volleyball, track, all of those things fall in there. Plus there's homework, plus there's family commitments that you have for your family, plus there's if you have a job. And what I always tell my students is for every hour that you are studying, someone else is studying too. And it's the same thing in football. For every hour that you work out, the other team is working out too, as in 2WO, not TOO. But, you always have to push yourself if you want to move up levels.
So I like to brag on Bay County, and I like to brag, we're highlighting Bozeman. I'll brag on any school in Bay County if they got something going on that's worth bragging about. And I love the fact that we've been pushing out more champions in athletics across our community. We've been doing some incredible stuff academically. We've seen it in a lot of different sports. But I'm talking to people from Bozeman. And so we've got incredible things happening with ag I want to talk about in a minute. But as I'm finally calling your name a little bit more, Peyton, you were on a football team that did some pretty good things this year, right?
Yes, sir.
Y'all made it to was it state semifinals?
It was Final Four.
The Final Four.
Sir.
Made a good long run. The baseball team is doing good this year. Had a pretty incredible year. I know there's high hopes in the future with some other things. I've asked you about what's coming up, Becky, with middle school and all that, and you've got more coming in the wings. What I think are champions in the making in a lot of these different areas. So you played some football, but now what is your plan? You're getting ready to graduate. You're going to try to keep playing some football, right?
I'm going to try. I leave for Texas A&M May 19th, and I'll get out there and start summer football. And then when I start school, I'll want to major in animal science, and then we'll go from there. And I hope to go to vet school after that 4 years.
So I think it's really outstanding, the idea that you had the opportunity to be your preferred walk-on. You're working on, you're doing some heavy-duty workout stuff right now, getting ready. You're getting ready to go out there just in a few short weeks, right?
Yes, sir. Counting down the days.
But then when you look past just the football opportunity, you're looking at Texas A&M. That's a great opportunity on the agricultural side with what you're planning to do. And I'm saying that because now we're not just bragging on you, which we are, but we're talking about a program that's pumping out students with some really exceptional opportunities. Now, what'd you say you want to do again when you get done?
Animal science.
All right. What's that look like? Do you know?
That's more of a her question.
So you're picking what are some things he could do with an animal science major?
Well, you want to be a vet.
I want to be a vet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Large animal.
I want to be large animals. Yes, sir.
Well, the way that we've already learned you were a hero with that cow,
he's
that's a
on
pretty
his
good
way.
sign, right?
Yep.
He's on his way. Yes.
Animal science kind of sets me up to be ready for vet school.
Does all of the stuff that they've done with FFA and the awards and stuff that they've gotten, does all of that help them both with the college side and then
Yes,
beyond?
and what Peyton has not said yet is that Peyton's proficiency is he is working to get a species of animal off the threatened species list. So
Okay.
he needs to
Talk about, and
Yes.
you're right, you got a star too. Tyler got the star of ag business, you've got the star of placement, and you are doing something special with a particular kind of goose, right?
Yes, sir. It's Sebastopol geese are on the threatened list.
Say it
and
again.
The threatened list.
What's the name of that goose?
The Sebastopol.
Sebastopol.
Yes, sir.
I asked you about, well, I may have asked your grandmama about them, but they're not the normal goose we see on these stormwater ponds. These are a good goose.
These are ornamental goose.
Ornamental
they cannot
goose.
fly because their feathers are more curly, so that doesn't allow them to kind of hold wind, air, and it also makes them less water repellent. So most geese and ducks won't get wet. These will get wet because their feathers are not sealed.
Okay.
So they are very hard to take care of. They're kind of domesticated now, and what I've done is through 4 years I've kind of did some trial and error with incubators and the process of raising them. And I started off with like maybe 4 or 5, and then now I'm up. Last year I had 116 goslings. So
This is an endangered species.
threatened.
it's
threatened.
on its way. It's one
Yes.
level above endangered.
Yes.
Cool. That's a lot.
So there's a
You
lot
call them
of
goslings?
goslings. Baby geese called goslings, yes, sir.
I'm
So
going to show my family how smart I am tonight. Okay.
So whenever they hatch, I mean, there's certain things you have to be able to know, do, and treat them, and then they'll grow up, and then they'll start to get their feathers, and then that really separates them from other geese because they have the curly feathers and geese have the other feathers.
Now, both of you fellas had teams come and evaluate you. You had an interview process, told them about the timeline. You showed me some of the pictures, which is cool, about the lawn care business and stuff. You had a team come to the farm and talk to you about all the things that you did with them, right?
Yes. So I had a team come to the farm, and how I presented my project to them was I set up stages. I set up stages from the incubator to the brooder to outside, where they first get to be outside to get fresh air. Then they are finally out of their pen into a larger pen. Then they'll get water, and then they can start to go on their own in a different stage. And then they're finally free range at the very end. So I set my presentation up as stages. So I walked them through each stage, kind of did a little more hands-on, and gave them a bunch of data to look through.
Cool.
So the point was, with his proficiency, the steps that he went through in starting from egg all the way to adult, but it's the research things that he did. He had to manipulate the depth of water for them to mate on. He had to do some things with their vent to encouraging the mating. He had to mark the eggs. He had to turn the eggs. But it's that scientific process of working with the geese to get them off the threatened species list that will translate to other animals at Texas A&M.
Yep.
So it's the process that he went through with that animal and going through trial and error. If he keeps that mindset and he can apply it to all the other animals in the animal science program at Texas A&M and then come out successful on the other end because he has that mindset.
When I was going through my doctoral program, that was part of like the process of research and learning how to write a curriculum, but first research it. And same deal, I've applied it to every problem that I
So
face.
he has the basics that just get applied to all the other animals.
I feel like this project has really taught me perseverance. I feel like I've already had it, but I could have easily given up the first year when it didn't go right, or I didn't have the numbers I wanted to. The second year I could have given up again, even when I didn't have that. But I feel like I persevered through it, and that really, FFA and this proficiency has really taught me to persevere through the hard times.
It's good. You had an injury you had to persevere through too with football, right?
Yes, sir.
You've learned a lot of perseverance along the way.
A very rare injury.
Yeah, absolutely. This is good. Now, I want you to brag on the program as a whole. Y'all starting to rack up some accolades and awards. You said 13 state titles. Is that the right term?
Since 2013, we've won 13 state titles, either individual or team titles, and then 2 national titles.
That's a pretty big deal.
That is a big deal. And then actually last weekend we were in Gainesville, and then Tyler got 3rd place in the state in ornamental horticulture last weekend. And then
What does that mean? Like pretty plants? Ornamental horticulture.
Ornamental horticulture it's a competition where you do a demo basically of something, and there's different categories. My specific category was production, so I would do a demonstration on how to produce something related to agriculture. I grew green onions. My presentation was on the quick and simple way to produce green onions in your home. So that was my demonstration.
without them being in the ground.
Yep.
Yes. So, and then in June we have other teams and individuals that have qualified, and they're going to compete for state titles at the state convention. So it's year round. We start in August. Our first competition is like October, November, and then goes all the way to June.
We look forward to being able to see how some of the other things shake out, and maybe being able to promote some of that even after the show is over, or has aired, which would be cool. Tyler, let's start with you. What's your favorite thing about being an FFA during this time?
My favorite thing is probably just the amount of life skills you learn through the program. The relationship.
He took my answer. As soon as you said, I said life skills, and he took that.
We learn so many valuable lessons, life skills, relationships with people, public speaking skills. I personally learned what my true passion just being in the ag program. Before I started, and when I was in 6th grade, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I didn't know anything about agriculture, but when I joined the program, I realized what I really wanted to do with my future, and I learned my true love for agriculture.
It's cool. Can I ask you, even though he took yours?
I can expand on it.
All right.
The life skills, as in, like, knowing what I should have gave that cow whenever they left. She taught me that. That's one of those things I've learned as life skills, driving the tractor. We're teaching kids now, me and him both are teaching kids now how to drive the tractor and how to back up through with the utility trailer. And there's a lot of kids that don't know how to and have never even seen a tractor. Now they're learning how to drive it, and just being able to go to all these competitions, managing schoolwork and everything, all the stuff that comes with FFA and ag has really, it's just all my favorite stuff. Like it's,
As we're talking, one of the things that fascinates me about the program is that when I was doing my doctorate, I learned about education and different levels of learning, right? And we know that structured teaching or classroom learning is one level, but it's not near as strong of a level as actually having to take and apply it. And so for Becky and Ms. Peltonen and your team to be out of town, and now there's a problem, and you're responsible, and at least certainly felt the responsibility of what do I do with this cow, and you had to figure it out. And so it's a next level application, which is really strong.
We've actually had another incident with a cow while I was gone.
Uh-oh, is this something we can share?
It's okay. We had a bad thunderstorm and a cow got scared. I don't know how, but it got stuck in a tree. It was
A cow got stuck in a tree.
It was a V.
This is after one of those windstorms, wasn't
It was something. I don't know what happened. But anyway, the tree went into a V, and then she got her head stuck in it. And then when she tried to pull out, she couldn't. And we were actually in Orlando.
This
and
sounds like there's a sermon illustration.
I know, right?
The cow got its head stuck in a V.
tree.
Okay.
So they called me and said the cow's stuck in a tree, and I said, well, send a picture. And then, so they sent a picture, and then they ended up getting a grandpa to cut the branch off, and the cow just dropped. And so the girls ended up going to the vet and getting the shots for it because it was a Friday and the school was locked up.
Right.
And so they went and came back and gave the cow that got stuck in a tree the shots, and then got the cow back up and on its feet again. And I mean, I just can't tell you as a teacher, when you've got students who can run a farm and you're not there, that is, when I hung up with them, they did not call me back for several hours. And then they said, okay, we got her, she's up, So when you can leave and everything be okay, that is when you know that you've done your job, to where you don't have to be there all the time. And when you know that they're responsible enough to problem solve and that they know what to do, and the fact that they're not scared to do it, when they've got the confidence to do it as well, because they've done this so many times hands-on, that and the confidence level is there, then you know that everything is going to be okay. I'd also like to point out that we have 155 seniors graduating this year, which is a huge class for Bozeman. And when I talked about the different pathways that we have, each one of them has industry certifications that go with them. And these are workforce ready, job level ready certifications.
Industry certifications is a really important thing.
It's big right now. The governor is really pushing the career and technical education side of education, because not all kids can go to university, but they can do the career and technical education programs. We have 112 seniors from Bozeman who are graduating this year that earned at least one industry certification in all of the areas that we offer. So a lot of the students graduating from Bozeman are coming out, and if they're not going to college or university, they are workforce ready.
And those industry certifications put them a little bit further ahead,
Correct,
making them ready for a job. I think it's a neat connection to make. We've talked with Haney before about their welding program and some of the industry certifications they have. There's a part of your program, a track they could take that's more on the mechanical side of looking at keeping equipment running and that kind of thing.
The ag mechanics.
Which is something that you don't naturally think of. But I think it's pretty neat, because if you can work, I've got uncles that that's what they do, have done over the years, as they've been the mobile guy that goes to and works on tractors, et cetera. But welding's a very essential piece to that, and I literally see how some of the things they're learning on the farm side would connect very well with some of what Haney does, as far as the industry certification. That's strong, though, that many students that are graduating are prepared to get a job. Like, that's parents and grandparents that are listening, that's like got to be music to your ears. So listen, we're proud of what y'all are doing at Bozeman. Thank you guys for coming and giving us, representing others that are like you, and future folks that are going to hopefully be champions at Bozeman of one form or another. We look forward to hearing about the national side of things. Ms. Peltonen, thank you for what you're doing, pouring into these students, and we look forward to hearing great things out of the Bozeman Bucks in the days ahead. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us for the Good News Bay podcast, where we are making Bay County brighter one conversation at a time. Please help us share this good news and change the conversation by liking, sharing, and subscribing to the podcast.